friends, welcome to Joy Fido International. My name is Joy Fido and welcome on board. So what do we have to talk about today? Today is really exciting. I know I come here and chat with you about exciting things from time to time, but this particular topic today, I feel really energized and excited about it. Okay, so the topic today is come out of the program. Come out of the program. Come out of the program to live a life of purpose. So it's mainly come out of the program. Now, why did I come up with such a topic? How did such a topic come to me? This is really interesting. Because years ago, or maybe not years ago, but I know I have definitely done a video called Programmed to Fail. Programmed to Fail was the title. And if you can look back on yourself, maybe we will even put a link on it. I need to go and watch it again. But you see, this is what's so interesting, because when things come to me sometimes, I don't even know where they come from. And it all makes sense. So, Programmed to Fail was quite an interesting one that came to me at the time. And then now, years later, experiences of life, things I'm dealing with daily, brings back the topic, come out of the program. So, this is where it all begins to add up. Well, recently I had a call, one of my students, someone who is also watching our programs, called me and was thanking me so profusely, saying, you know, without you talking to me, I would not have even known how to start my life all over again. So thank you so much. You've given me hope. You've given me something to look on to and hold on to, and it's helped me to put my act together, and I'm back on track. And I was really touched. Because you see, I come here and I talk about these things. And I listen to myself too, seriously. You have to take this seriously. I listen to my own advice. And so this lady was saying to me how I've been able to help. And I said, yes, I help myself too. And whenever these things come to me, I don't keep them to myself. I come and talk about it. And I've never really known if I was really helping anyone out there. So by her telling me, it touched me, because that means I am really contributing to people's lives. And that's all I want to hear. I want to know if I'm making sense or if I'm not making sense. But you see, it really empowered me to feel that what I'm doing is good. So now, she'd finished saying that to me. And then a lot of things are happening. I was watching a movie, not really a movie. I was watching a program at school. You know, I'm in school, I've said that. And someone brought this YouTube video on, and it was this man called Dr. Bruce Lipton. You can check him out, he's on YouTube. And I was listening to him, and this particular one I watched, which opened my eyes, was about how we have all been programmed. And that, especially for the first 7 years of our lives, when a child is born, I've talked about this to myself in the past, a child is born without any information. The head of the child, the brain of the child is generally known as tabula rasa, is empty. And so as we start to grow, we're picking up information, we're picking up knowledge based on our surroundings, based on people around us. We begin to form who we become. But you see, why Dr. Lipton's thing really made a big difference to me is he's a scientist. And he's been teaching science for years, biology, for over 20 years. His specialty is in cell science. And somehow, he's been able to find out that, you know how they say to us that whatever we become is based on our genes, genetic formation. And if your father had XYZ, high blood pressure, cancer, or whatever, you are bound to pick that up too. And if there's something in your genes, in your family bloodline, you are going to get that too. So he took his time, being a cell scientist that he was, to do this research. And he's looking at all the cells and changing their environment and seeing how the cells are responding to what he's doing. And he found out that no, the genes had nothing to do with it. And if they did at all, probably 1%, 2%. But your environment is what changes everything. I had to buy his book. It's called The Biology of Belief. Because on YouTube, there's one place where he's given a full lecture, which was probably like 2 hours. I still listen to that video because it made a huge difference to my thinking. I'd always known that we were programmed, but I didn't know exactly how. And now he's explained that from this childhood up to the age of 7, everything we're taking into our knowledge is like a recording. We record our understanding of what's going on, because at that stage the child doesn't have any consciousness. The child doesn't know what the child is doing. Hence you see people will say, oh, leave him, he's only a child, he doesn't know what he's doing. No, they don't know up to the age of 7. So they're not aware what is going on. So at this stage they're just grabbing information like a sponge, and they're just taking it like recording. And that's what creates what they call the subconscious mind. And so after that age, we begin to express ourselves. We begin to become who we want to be. But you see, at that stage, we have soaked up all this information. And that has created what our subconscious becomes. So now there are 2 types of mind, apparently. We have the conscious mind and we have the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is so powerful. It rules 95% of who we are. Because when we're under pressure, we automatically revert to subconscious. And so this is why when you're dealing with people, he goes really further to explain about the honeymoon phase and all of that. All of that, if you're watching him, you will get them. But he goes further to explain that if you're dealing with people and they are naturally in a certain way, you cannot change that. You cannot change that. Because when they come out of that subconscious state and become conscious of what they're doing, apparently our conscious state is so little that there are people who walk around in a day using just 1% of their conscious, and the rest 99% is subconscious. And while most of the time it's 95% subconscious. This is why when somebody hurts you sometimes and you say to the person, look at what you did, you hurt me, they probably didn't know because their subconscious was at work, and that's just who they naturally are. And then they will not say to you, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, I'm really sorry. And then you say, okay. And they say to you, I'm going to change, don't worry, it will not happen again. And then you accept it. But you know what then happens? It will not take another 1 day later. That person does that thing again. That person automatically reverts to default. You know when you buy a TV or any equipment and they say, this is the default. Default is how the manufacturer has made it. And so you then come and change things. So that you changing things is now the conscious mind. And the default mind is the subconscious. So now society, based on us going to school and going to church and our parents and our friends and everything around us, has helped us to become this subconscious person. And this subconscious person is a program that's running in us without us knowing. And that's why, according to him, we've been automatically made to fail. Because when we then grow up and then realize, this happens to me, that's why I'm here chatting with you about this. You realize that in your head you're thinking something. You want to see certain things in your life. You want to become somebody. The person you are seeing in your head, I know that's me. I don't know about anybody else. The person in me is not not the reality I am seeing. And then I struggle with that. And so he's explaining that when that happens, it's because the subconscious, the program part of you, is not connecting with your conscious part. The conscious part is you, is the person you were meant to be. While the subconscious part is the part that society has created. And so if you now begin to question all of that, then you struggle. And that's what I have found out. But you see, this is something so interesting to put together. Because when the first video that I watched, which he explained, it was about this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And what he explained was, when a child is born into a wealthy family, a rich home, or let's even say a rich country, you see, what happens is that society, that environment, that home, begin to instill these programs into this child. Begins to instill these programs into this child. This is how we do this. This is how we do that. I mean, yesterday I was actually watching a YouTube channel where Will Smith's son, Jaden, from the really tiny little age, he was already in front of audiences. The parents were holding him and taking him to all these places. So it all connects, because now Jaden's grown up to become this star in his own right, standing in front of audiences and singing his own song and rapping and all of that. But you see, it all connected because he was born into that. So slowly he's absorbed all of that, and then he's connected it with who he is now, with his conscious. I want to carry on with that. I'm not saying that there are no times when a child will say, no, I don't want to deal with that. I can't handle what my parents did, and I can't handle the society. But you see, what he's saying is, rich children end up being rich, and poor children end up being poor because of the programming around us. So you see, when those of us who were born into nothing start to query and we want to become the other side, we want to become rich, we want to look at my friends, they're doing so well, why am I not? Then it becomes a problem, because now you're going against what you have been automatically brought up in. Because if you notice, most of the time when you are born into a poor family, when you want to do anything different, they say, what do you think you're doing? Who do you think you are? We don't do that. We are not like them. We are not. And so they start to pull you down. And so you have to fight to overcome all of that. But if you're born into wealth, it is automatically expected that you should be wealthy. It will only have to be you that will say, you know what, I don't want to be wealthy. Because this is part of you. You're brought up like that. So he explained that that's what Rich Dad Poor Dad said too. Because the rich dad was saying to him, you know what, ignore everything your poor dad is saying. Poor dad was well educated. I will have to read this book again. Poor dad was well educated and had all these PhDs and everything. But he had no knowledge of how to transform that into what would create wealth for him. But the rich dad had access to all of that. And the rich dad was guiding this young boy and telling him what to do and how to do it. So you see, when you are brought up like that, where somebody is holding your hand and telling you all the things to do, you naturally blend it, you naturally get it, because then you are taking it into your subconscious. And subconscious is what guides us in life. That's what rules our daily life. So it all started making a lot of sense. But you see, he didn't end it there. He went further to give us a story. I don't know if you watched that movie, The Matrix. The Matrix happened to be one of my favorite movies. And I have watched The Matrix over and over and over again. And one of the things that stood out for me was knowing the fact that society expects us to conform to certain ways. And so when they expect you to conform to certain ways and everybody's going this direction, you are meant to go that direction too. And the minute you say, no, I don't want to go that direction, I want to go this direction, suddenly you are now bad. But what I didn't get when I was watching The Matrix was there was a part where he was given the choice of two pills. He was asked, take the red pill or take the blue pill. And the red pill said to him, you will come out of the program. And the red pill, you will get into the matrix. Now, the program is when society expects all of us to conform, which is what I just explained. But he chose the red pill. And then he was now constantly fighting against the system. So, hence the title of this video, Come Out of the Program. You see, when we stay in the program, what's happening is we just have to become like everybody else. But see, this is where the question is coming now. You want to be like everybody else. What are we looking for in life? This is one of the things I've always chased. It's just been me. I've always been drawn towards finding out what is the purpose of life. What is our mission in life? Why did I keep asking that? Because I know so many relatives who have come, they never achieved anything, and they've gone. I have so many brothers and sisters and relatives, and especially the community where I come from, where nothing works. And I keep asking, why did God even send us here? Why? If the whole purpose was just to come and suffer and struggle and go back. So I've always been asking that. I did a program on this channel as well about, the purpose-driven life. Because when I see titles like that, I want to know, what is it? What is it? And so I'm trying to find out the purpose. And Dr. Lipton explains. He was in that scenario as well, where he asked himself, if there was anybody that you would like to be, who would you want to be? And he told himself then that he would never have wanted to be himself. That was when he was going through really difficult times. And so it was from such questions that he started asking more and more questions, because he had gone through really difficult times. So that's the question. Who would you have wanted to be? What is the purpose of life? Why are we here? And then he eventually found out for himself that he feels it was to experience life. God wanted us to come here and experience life. Imagine how amazing this life is. It was to enjoy life. So you're experiencing the earth, God's creation. I've said it over and over. In the Bible, very first chapter, after God finished creating the universe 7 days, the 7th day he rested, he said to man, go ye and multiply. Go ye and multiply was go ye and make the best of all these things that I've done. Go and add more to it. Let me rest now. You go and carry on with the world. And so, experience the world. Enjoy the world. Enjoy, because there's a time for all of us. There's a beginning and an end. So if within that gap of time, you want to just open the ground and sit in it and lock yourself up and say, you know what, I don't want to deal with the world. The world is so difficult. It is so hard. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. The day you open, the day God has said, yes, this is your beginning and this is your end, it will be over. So if you like, do nothing. If you like, become a beggar for the rest of your life. There is a beginning and there's an end. Anything that has life in it, there's an end. And so, we're meant to come experience the world. We're meant to come and enjoy the world. And we're meant to contribute to the world. Contribute to the world. And I think that's where things started going wrong. Because you see, if it was just experience the world, everyone is happy to give us that. That's what the programming is all about. The world wants you to just come here and just follow the crowd like in the Matrix. And they start inputting in you what you should become because they finish programming you. And so it ends there. You have nothing else to add to life. And then the day nature says, okay, that's enough now, then you happily go back to heaven or go back to earth to earth. It's over. Your spirit goes wherever it goes. And all is well. And then you ask yourself, what about the people who are actually enjoying the earth? What about people who are having so much fun? Why wasn't I one of those people? So this is where it comes in. This is where I'm saying, come out of that program. This is where you have to take that red pill, like in the Matrix. Because you see, my personal experience, we tend to think we don't have anything. We tend to think that. But see, this is where we don't get it. Every human being on this earth, there is something unique about you. There is something different about you that God created for you alone, you and you alone. Hence, you do your biometrics, or what do they call the eye matrix, and then your eyes is different. Apparently, our ears is different, and then our fingertips is different. So that should tell us something. And this is why when people want to make you feel inferior, people want to make you feel small, people want to dumb you down, you do not take it. Because there's something different about you, and that something that's different about you is what you should, that's what you should celebrate. That's what should make you stand out of the crowd. I've attended events where these people are reminding us that we should celebrate our uniqueness. But see, especially for us black people, we lost that. We lost accepting who we are. We lost accepting that we are different. We lost believing in ourselves. And so we allowed everybody else to program us. And this helped me. This book, Brainwashed. I'm still reading it, but the little I read, the more I get. This helped me. The miseducation of the Negro. Because as a race, we allowed every other race to control us, to hold our hands, to tell us where to go, to direct us. And so because we had no belief in ourselves, we then became the downtrodden. But that's what Dr. Lipton is telling us. We need to come out of that program. We need to believe in who we are. We need to start standing up for ourselves. And I tell you how this is all making a bit of sense to me, or making so much sense to me. So we go to school, primary school, secondary school, we're chasing, and we're chasing, and we're chasing. And you know what happens? You never ever feel you're good enough. Because somehow, I had a student in my class once who had studied everything she could study. She studied this beauty, and she studied massage, and she was just studying. And somehow she finishes, she thinks she hasn't got enough, and she will go for another, and she will go for, so until she came to me to come and study the hair. And so we go through our foundation program. Foundation program is 10 different modules, 10 different major skills, where I have trained people and they finish and they become perfect in 1 or 2, and that just takes them through life. But the reason we packaged that to give you 10 was to make sure that no matter what happens, you find at least 1 or 2 or 3 that will make you happy. But you see, looking back at all these things that I'm understanding now, time is coming, I'm going to change that. Because now I realized what was missing. So this girl comes and she's done these 10 different courses. And then she goes. And then she calls me again and she says, I want to come and take more courses. What do you want this time? I want to learn how to do locks. I said, okay, locks is another program that contains another 5 different modules in it. Oh yes, I want that one. Maybe that's the one missing. I said, no, 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 no. Come, let's talk. And we had a good talk. And I said to her, after you finish with these logs, I don't want to hear that you're taking on any more training. Do you hear me? Because what's happening is you have not practiced anything. You haven't taken any of the skills you learned and put them into action. This is why you still think you're missing or something is still lacking. So I explained everything to her, and then she took my advice, and today she's running a successful salon. But see, that was a good example of what's happening to all of us. Because you see, I have so much skills in my hand. I share all my skills with my students. But I still did not feel I'm complete. I had to go and take up another course, which I'm still doing right now. And then now I've got a little break from it. And I'm asking myself, I still need to do more. Then it's finally hitting me. What are you still looking for? You have so much in your hands and you're still looking for more. But see, this is where Dr. Lipton has done an amazing job. Programming. Because society programs us, especially those of us black people, to think that what we have is not good enough. Do you get where this is going? To think that what you have is not good enough. And I come from Africa, Nigeria, where each time I go home, I see so much possibilities. So much, endless possibilities. Endless. Do we take it seriously? No. We can't wait to get on that plane to go to America, to go to England, to go to Russia, to go to China. Wherever there is that's outside of where we're from, we're happy to go there. And you know why that is the case? Because we've been programmed to think that what we have is not good enough. And so we don't give value to what we have. We would rather go somewhere else and wait for somebody to give us a pat on the back and say, you've done a great job. We would rather wait to be paid £5 an hour or £10 an hour than go to our own countries and own things. I mean, when we went home, you could buy acres and acres of land for little money. But you cannot own even one plot of land in England. You cannot. You cannot do it. Because the land belongs to the Queen. But no, we're still sitting in England. And we're still telling ourselves that we're living a great life. When there's so much possibilities where we come from. So this is why this video is so important. This is why learning from other people who have seen it is so important. Because if somebody like Dr. Lipton did not do his experiments to show that the cells react to environment, they call it epigenetics. Genetics is based on outside influence. We've all accepted the fact that my dad had high blood pressure, I will have high blood pressure. My great-grand-aunt had cancer, I will have cancer. We have not understood that that is somebody talking into a program, into our head, and we've accepted it. And apparently from listening to him again, which I've always known too, but still did not understand how I knew, the mind is where everything is. And there's the, if you're into medicine or you've ever been to the doctor, there's what they call placebo. Placebo is when a doctor can just give you a sugar pill. You've gone to the doctor and said, I'm suffering from this and I'm suffering from that, and the doctor says, okay, drink this purple medicine, this is the latest medicine that cures da 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 da. You go and drink it and you get well. But it turns out it was a sugar pill. There was nothing in it. Why did you get well? Because your mind accepted it. Your mind believed it. And so apparently we can cure ourselves. have to do is believe in ourselves, and this is where spirituality meets with science. But all along spirituality, science had always rejected spirituality. Oh, you're talking nonsense. It cannot be proven in a lab. But now they realized that if somebody comes to them and say, I have headache, that headache coming to you came from so many things that happened to you. It wasn't one thing. And so it cannot be cured with just one pill, because all they're looking at is external. They have not asked if you were having a fight with your wife or your husband, if your sister and you were quarreling and it's affecting you, if your best friend and you are having issues. All these things add up. And when they add up, what they then do is they affect the cells in the body. And the cells in the body starts to fight itself because the external environment is affecting it. And so all of these things then add up and create an internal problem. So do you see how this is coming out? So to me, it's like one of the biggest things that I could ever have come across. And that's why I'm sharing this message with you. We need to come back to ourselves. We need to go back and believe in God who created us and gave us so much power of individuality. But you see, that individuality is what society has been fighting with. Because society does not want us to be individual. Society wants us to be mass. And so the minute you change from being mass, you do not exist. The minute you say, listen, this is not me, I am this person, no, you're not bad. And hence you now see how they will head all of us into a classroom and let's teach them business management, let's teach them language, let's teach them. And so they start pouring these things into our head, and when they finish pouring it into our head, you finish and you come out and you don't know what to do with it. Miseducation. You get all that knowledge, and you know what happens? It remains knowledge. It stays in your head. You don't know how to turn that into reality, into practicality. And you know what happens to most of us? We go back to learn more. And we go back to learn more. And then we learn, and then we learn, and then we learn. And all that time is going against us. Some of us finish university, becoming professor, PhD, master's degree. We have become so old. We have grown old from the pressure, the stress, the emotional attack. Not to talk about the physical attack. Because I can tell you that I'm only doing a smaller program, and I'm having this issue with a teacher who, no matter what I write, refuses to read it. She doesn't read it. She'll just wake up and just give you a mark. But she has not read it. And now, if I was somebody who's emotionally bothered, I would sit down and worry. I will really worry and say, oh my gosh. In some courses, I'm getting distinction. But this woman ensures that every course I've taken with her, I get a pass. And so I asked him, what does the other teacher do that I get distinction? And she does that I get a pass. I want to know. How would you deal with that? And then now you want to carry on to PhD, and then let's say you keep meeting teachers like that. What do you think is happening to your emotional buildup? You now think that something is wrong with you. That's the programming. And so you take that on, and your cells start to deal with that, and you begin to cry and stress yourself and fight yourself and say, I'm not passing, and something is wrong with me, I'm not intelligent. No. It's a mental abuse. That's what's going on. Brainwashing. Because in as much as they know that whatever they're teaching you, all these theories will lead to nothing, and I'm telling you, it will lead to nothing, and I'll tell you why it will lead to nothing. Dr. Lipton says it too. If you want to come out of this program that they've created for us, there are 3 things we could do. Number 1, my favorite one, which I've also told everyone that will listen and my students when they come here. Practice. He calls it fake it till you make it. Practice makes perfect. We've heard that over and over. Watch a child that is born that's learning to walk. What happens to that child? The child walks a little and falls down. What happens? Does the parent say, oh no, you can't walk really? In short, forget it. Sit down, don't bother anymore. No. As a mother, what do? You keep encouraging your child. Don't worry, honey. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. And when they do well, you clap your hands. You say, yeah, you've done it well. Keep going. Then the child walks. Today, the child is walking all over the place. Look back into that. Same thing when you want to drive. Was it the first day you got into the car you drove? No. And so when people finish their training here, they go, but it's so hard. Go and practice it. And if you keep practicing and practicing, before you know, you'll be an expert at it. And so this is why everyone who takes up my skills and my knowledge and my training gets it. But you see, when we go and do all this theory, management in this, international blah, 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 fashion blah, blah, you take up all these crazy courses that is just names that they put together, and then you come out and you want to practice, and there's nowhere to practice. This is why you hear people complaining unemployment. That's what's caused it. It's not lack of knowledge, because if knowledge was the issue, Africa would not be where it is right now. Try saying you want to study petrochemical, which is something we struggle with, because we do have the oil. We have oil all over Niger Delta in Nigeria. I was watching a video the other day, and every palm grove in that neighborhood is soiled with oil because there's spillage everywhere. What do Nigerians know? What do we know? We don't know anything about how to take care of that situation. And let's say you now went and said, let me study petrochemical engineering. Oh, really? Fantastic name. You finish paying all that school fees. But now you want to practice doing the job. No one gives you a chance. No business gives you a chance. No petrochemical company gives you a chance. I know so many people who studied crazy names and they come out and they have nowhere to practice their experience and gain experience. So do you see where the problem is? So he says if you want to come out of that programming, you have to practice whatever it is you want to be good at. And that's the message I will share with you too, because I am going to do that. Everything I want to do now from this day forward, I am going to be good at it. I will practice that thing over and over. No matter how much I fail, I will keep practicing. And I will get it. I'll be like that child who's learning to walk and fall down and stand up and walk again and fall until they become perfect and walking and now runs. That's what we all need to do. That's the solution to us coming out of this program. Because you see, this is where my issue is. When I started teaching braiding and I said braiding was what I wanted to do and share it with the world, plus hair extensions and all of it, everyone laughed at me then. What is that? Is that not hairdressing? But how many hairdressing salons can braid hair? How many hairdressing, typical Caucasian hairdressing salon will give you a chance to come and cut hair in their salon? I had a student once who came to learn from me, and she wanted to go to a hairdressing college, and they were telling her she has to have level 1 and level 2, and she said, but where will I get the level 1 from if no one gives me a chance to start? And when you come here, you don't know anything about hair, and I'll take you from the beginning, because I wanted to make sure situations like that don't happen to my people. But that's the reality we're dealing with. This is why Africa is in darkness. Because nobody wants to give an African a chance to know what they know. But I say we have to be ready to practice. We have to be ready to take on whatever we want to perfect. We have to be ready to come out of this program that they put us in for all these years. So I'm going to leave it here. Share this video with your friends. Give us a thumbs up if you like it, and we really like to hear your comments. If this is contributing to your life, it will excite us to bring more to you. God bless you.